We are properly in the middle of the forest right now. It's seriously dense and I'm just taking it super slow and easy. Looking around, obviously a little bit worried about what I might spot, or rather what might spot us. कैसे मालूम?
तो ऐसा करके बैठा था।
हाँ
इसका ये रहता ना,
हाँ
ये लगा है।
बाल
हाँ बाल
बाल दिखाओ।
बाल नहीं, बाल का तो मार्क।
मार्क हाँ
ये क्या है? बफेलो है।
वाइल्ड बफेलो।
पग मार्क।
So apparently a leopard had slept here, and somehow Manju is able to tell because he's used to this sort of thing, and he now tells me that a wild buffalo was here. What that? अभी यहाँ कोई जानवर हमारे आसपास है तो हमको कैसे समझेगा?
समझेगा, और स्मेल पे भी ऑब्जर्व कर सकते हैं।
मेरा नाक बंद है। हाँ दीदी
हाँ
क्या बना रहे हैं आज?
आप रेड एंड चटनी।
रेड एंड चटनी?
या
क्या बोलते हैं उसको?
वो मुयो।
Well, the ant is alive, if you can see.
वो ऐसा भी खा सकते हैं।
हाँ
हाँ
वो जिंदा है लेकिन।
जिंदा ऐसा भी खा सकते हैं। ट्राई करें।
Really? Well, yeah, these aren't moving. Must be dead. खा लो हाँ?
खा लो।
Actually very tasty.
वेरी टेस्टी है। वो अंडा
It's
है
like a
ना?
massacre of red ants basically, right? Because there are probably, I don't know, thousands of them in here right now.
वो
हम भी छोटे रहते हैं ना तो ब्लैक एंट से हम डरते नहीं है ना, काटते नहीं है ऐसा सोचते। रेड एंट मतलब सीधा
सीधा।
ये अच्छा लगा देख के।
अच्छा लगा।
सब रेड एंट्स
फिनिश।
मैं खाना बहुत अच्छा बनाता हूँ। मैगी।
मैगी हाँ।
एक मिनट। ये स्लो रखना है क्या?
हाँ स्लो रखना।
स्लो इतना?
हाँ इतना।
ठीक है। वो रेड एंट बाहर है।
नहीं वो क्या करता है?
अभी ये पूरा डाल देंगे।
पूरा
अच्छा
और थोड़ा
थोड़ा फास्ट करेंगे। अच्छा
फास्ट होता है।
फिर क्या
फिर क्या?
तेल डालेंगे?
नहीं नहीं तेल डालेंगे नहीं। ऑयल होना पर वो कोकम बटर है ना, उसका ऑयल थोड़ा डालने के लिए।
कौन सा? कोकम का?
कोकम का बटर का।
अच्छा कोकम बटर ऑयल।
ऑयल
ओके तो इसमें है?
किसमें है?
ये है?
ये है
वाओ लुक एट दैट। कोकम का बटर
का
अच्छा
ऑयल।
डालो। थोड़ा मिक्स करना है इसको।
हाँ मिक्स।
करेक्ट
करेक्ट।
ग्रीन चिलीज। वाह लुक एट दैट। इससे निकाल दो।
हाँ निकल।
इसको भी मिक्स करो।
हाँ मिक्स करो।
हल्दी।
हल्दी
ओके ये हल्दी का कलर बहुत अच्छा है।
हाँ
यहाँ बनता है
हाँ वो लोकल
लोकल है?
मिलेगा, हाँ।
अच्छा। That's a great product placement for Bajaj mixer grinders. Well, that's not a great advertisement for Bajaj mixer grinders, given that you have to manually shake it. अभी इसको टेस्ट कर सकते हैं? थोड़ा दे दो, थोड़ा, ओके, it's hot also. खट्टा, very nice. Wow. Oh, this will wake you up. आप स्कूल में गए थे?
हाँ।
कितना स्टैंडर्ड?
5.
उसके आगे नहीं?
नहीं।
अच्छा, कौन सा इधर का स्कूल था? गवर्नमेंट स्कूल था?
गवर्नमेंट स्कूल।
अच्छा, फिर उसके आगे क्यों नहीं पढ़ाई किया?
मम्मी को 11 बच्चों को है।
हाँ?
वो
कितना बच्चे?
12।
या आप कुछ स्पोर्ट्स खेलते हैं क्या?
हाँ?
स्पोर्ट्स कुछ खेला कभी? कौन सा?
मैं यल्लापुर सुपर फिर गया था, मुनगोड़ सब भी गया था।
कौन सा स्पोर्ट्स खेलते थे लेकिन?
रनिंग।
हाँ? अच्छा, ऐसे 100 मीटर 200 मीटर हो
300
तो आप तो जीतते हैं उसमें?
800।
जीते 800 मीटर्स? फर्स्ट आए?
फर्स्ट आया।
For entirely personal reasons, it makes me very happy to say that I'm in Yellapur, Karnataka. For the better part of a decade, I've referred to it as some part of Africa and built unnecessary suspense around the place for one project or another. And yeah, sometimes it was funny and sometimes it was a bit pointless, perhaps even ridiculous at times, but for once, I'm here to tell you the story of this place for what it really is. Now, Yellapur is actually a town that is roughly 200 kilometers south of Goa. And among other things, other than how rich it is in its nature and also its culture, it is home to the Siddi community, the Siddi tribe. These are people who once upon a time came to India as rulers, and they did put up a tough fight against the Marathas down the Konkan coast, and then much later came back to India as slaves of the Portuguese. And when the Portuguese had to retreat, they left these people behind. They, I think, originally came in from Kenya, and they're part of the Bantu community. Where we are right now is a place called the Damami Siddhi community stay. It's a small but incredibly beautiful place where you can come and just spend a few days. So that's the bike Manju has been riding on, and as you can see, there is no off-road spec tire and no long travel suspension and no rider assists of any form, and he's been doing some serious speeds on it. Manju is clearly not somebody who believes in riding gear. And fair enough too, right? They live here. This is home turf for them. Meanwhile, look at me, looking like a fat Robocop with my very purposeful looking bike. That thing does look good though. It looks great in the forest. I think this is its natural habitat, right? I think it looks like it's made for here. I do sometimes feel that it has a little too much power for here. So if you're keeping like a good pace, then it's helpful. But if you're crawling and just sort of making notes and taking in the scenery and being very, very sort of hyper focused on what's around you, then the thing is a bit too eager. Not that I'd change that given the other things it's capable of doing, and I definitely don't want to compromise on how much fun it is to ride in the city, or how relaxed it feels on the highway. So in that way, it's a fair balance and a fair compromise. Yeah, we've ridden for about, 38 kilometers down a trail. That's a lot for a trail, because I mean, we've been out for the last 2.5, 3 hours, I think, and yeah, right now we're in the middle of the absolute unknown. What could be lurking around here? What could be lurking around right here? We'd never find out until it's too late. So. Ah, man, that got quite intense. There's no real purpose to parking the bike like that. It could have very well stayed on its side stand as well, but I like leaning on trees. This one's a particularly old one, I think, going by the size of the trunk. What a ride this is turning out to be. I thought I was in for a very sort of slow and relaxed ride, and I'd taken the forest and whatnot, but no. That bike, it makes you want to do silly things at times. And fortunately, there is a method to its madness. It is a nuanced motorcycle. I mean, the pedigree and KTM's years of experience making motorcycles like these, even though those are of a far more serious kind, but it shows. Regardless, it shows. And out here, it can become a handful. But most of the times, even if you, oh wow, look at that. Sorry, I got distracted for a moment. Look at that. ये क्या है?
मशरूम तरफ
मशरूम है? अच्छा, खा सकते हैं इसको?
नहीं
नहीं. I love this part of riding off road where ये ट्री कितना पुराना होगा आपके हिसाब से? We were to ask it. What? He is just making it up at this point. Maybe he isn't, I don't know. Should make fun of him.
76, 78.
अच्छा, wow. ये क्या सिस्टम है?
वो ये 10 इंच है और एक साल में
हाँ
2 इंच
बढ़ता है.
बढ़ता है.
Okay. So we could have just used my instead. man. Some ride that was. It's just a great bike to have fun with, you know. Yeah, it could have been lighter. And to be very truthful, I think down the same trail, if it was wet, if it was monsoon, then I think I would have preferred something lighter, because then you are in some cases muscling the bike around, and then I would have preferred a KLX or an Impulse maybe. It makes up for that by how inherently good it is in terms of the chassis and suspension and steering and brakes, and especially considering that at no point did I feel that I was doing anything with the bike that could pass off as abuse or that could be too traumatic for the bike, because I still have to factor in an 800-kilometer solo ride home, and that's not with friends and there's nobody around. So I'd hate to nurse a wounded bike home, and in that sense that thing has really fared well. And yeah, now that I've ridden a fantastic trail, it's time to go do something else. I don't know. Manju will decide what we're up to. Maybe we'll go fishing or cook something new, or I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this is the adventure I'd been seeking for a long, long time. Unscripted, completely unpredictable, and just so much fun. Isn't the whole point of travel to get a change of pace? Isn't one of the most fundamental things about travel to set yourself free from your idea of accomplishments? What you see, what you experience, where you arrive, that's important. How much fun you have, that's important. Off-roading is the means to the purpose of exploration. How can the means ever become more important than the purpose? And a lot of us have now, of late, begun to interchange adventure with off-roading, and they're simply not the same thing. If you want an adventure, your skill doesn't matter so much. The motorcycle you ride doesn't matter so much. What matters is your spirit, is your frame of mind, your readiness to deal with unpredictable things, with things that may not go in a way that you've imagined them. Over the years, we've been conditioned into believing that adventure is a sort of seamless sequence of dramatic events. But in reality, an adventure is simply something that's unscripted. It is in some way another term for the unpredictable. And in any case, there are schools dedicated to off-roading, but how many schools are there dedicated to exploration? What happens once you get there? And if you ask me off the top of my head to tell you what time it is right now or what day of the week is, I genuinely don't know. And for me, that's an adventure in itself, because I've never not been aware of what time of the day it is or what day of the week it is. That's the kind of life most of us live, right? Our day at work begins, a general day in the middle of a working week begins with the thought that I have to make it to my place of work at so and so hour, and then you begin to prepare. So your entire day is designed around making it to the office, and then you spend time at work, in most cases waiting to get back home, and then whatever small social activity you've got lined up for yourself is again designed around you having to wake up the next day to head to work. So the fact that I'm here in the middle of what I think is a weekday, out in the sun, walking on grass, and with absolutely no idea how my next few waking hours are going to go, well, that's a luxury. It's not just an adventure, it's a luxurious adventure. Look, that'll make for a nice place to ride a motorcycle. Maybe I should get the KTM down here when it's a little cooler, maybe around sunset. Be nice. So that's a book that was made for here. Now, this is where we are right now. This is the Damam. We'll show you that in some time. This, I believe, is made from sambar skin, the sides, that is, and this is obviously part of a tree. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. Oh, right. So, yeah. So, they've come in from here, the southern half of Africa, and then settled in what is now Gujarat and Karnataka. Right. That's the instrument. So, you can see it says here that it is made with either sheepskin or goat skin. But it says, in the past, hides from animals such as cheetal, sambar, deer and sheep were commonly used. Oh, right. That's Lalita. That's the lady we were cooking with right now. Wow. And this is obviously when it was just being built. And that's Manju. He's the one who's come up with the idea, and it's his place that we're staying in today. Wow, look at that. किधर है हम लोग अभी? क्या जगह है ये?
ये गांव का नाम लिंगतबेल है। मेन तालुक है यल्लापुर। यल्लापुर से टाउन से इधर 13 किलोमीटर जाता है।
और आपको क्या एज में समझ में आता है कि आप एक सिद्धि है? जैसे आप स्कूल में जाएंगे तो ये आप जहाँ स्कूल में पढ़े हैं तो वहाँ पे मिक्स स्कूल था या सिर्फ सिद्धि का स्कूल अलग होता है? कैसा स्कूल था?
नहीं, मिक्स स्कूल था। हम लोग मैं कितना 4-5-6 साल के आसपास एक क्लास 2 क्लास जाने के टाइम पे 88-89 लगभग वो टाइम पे हम लोगों को स्कूल में गया तो अलग रखता था।
अच्छा।
क्या वो देखने के लिए अलग है, वो उधर बाहर रखो, बाहर बैठो।
अच्छा।
वो तरफ बहुत ये था। दूसरे बच्चों भी दूसरे मिक्स नहीं करता था।
आपके क्लास में कितने सिद्धि बच्चे थे?
पहले फर्स्ट एक की क्लास में हम 4 लोग था, एक बेटी और 3 लोग हम।
तो स्कूल में जब भी आपको ट्रीट करते थे अलग से कि आप कुछ अलग है, तो गुस्सा आता था?
बहुत गुस्सा आता था। गुस्सा आता था और दुख भी आता था। ये लोग मैं क्या मेरा क्या मिस्टेक है? मैं क्या
जा रहे घर पे? गुड नाइट। उनको दिखाओ एक बार कैसे जाते हैं, देखो टॉर्च लेके रात में। अभी कौन सा दीदी, ये वाले घर में जाएंगे कि दूर जाएंगे? वो घर में जाएंगे। अच्छा, पांडु नहीं आएगा साथ में? चलो गो पांडु। गो पांडू, गुड बॉय। गुड नाइट दीदी, कल चाय बनाएंगे साथ में, ठीक है। मोबाइल कभी फर्स्ट टाइम यूज किया आपने? मोबाइल फोन?
वो बेसिक मोबाइल 4 साल 5-6 साल के पहले।
5-6 साल पहले?
हाँ
2019 में?
हाँ इतना ही।
मोटरसाइकिल चलाना कब सीखा आपने?
मेरा पापा मोटरसाइकिल वो लेके,
कौन सी मोटरसाइकिल थी उनकी?
वो एचडी
एसडी?
हाँ।
अच्छा।
एचडी लेके राजदूत,
हाँ।
बाद में राजदूत ले,
हाँ।
पहले एचडी था।
अच्छा।
इसको थोड़ा पेट्रोल और थोड़ा ऑयल
टूटी
और
oil।
थोड़ा ये क्या है ग्रीन कलर रहता ना, चिमनी तेल बोलो तो पहले रेशन में देता था, ये आग लगाने के लिए।
केरोसिन?
हाँ केरोसिन मिक्स करके
उसमें डालते थे मोटरसाइकिल में? हाँ ये तो सुना है।
बहुत ये आता था फॉग।
हाँ स्मोक।
हाँ ऐसा करके जंप करके मार के बाद में स्टार्ट हो जाता। ये लेके अरेका का बिजनेस करता था। अरेका बोले तो अरेका का कलर आता ना, ये बॉईल करके बाद में रेड कलर आता इस तरह। वो कलेक्ट करने के लिए वो बाइक लेके जाता था, वो एचडी बाइक।
जानवर कौन कौन से हैं यहाँ पे?
जानवर इधर क्या वो जंगल का बकरी है और डीर है और वो जंगल का बफेलो है, ये चीता है।
लेपर्ड?
हाँ लेपर्ड चीता नहीं, लेपर्ड सॉरी। ब्लैक पंथर भी है, भालू है और
भालू?
हाँ
अच्छा।
भालू
यहाँ पे देखा है आपने कभी?
हाँ बहुत सारे
भालू देखा है?
भालू देखे।
अच्छा, कभी कुछ ऐसा हुआ
बाइक
है?
में जाने के टाइम पे 2-3 बार मैं जंगल में डे टाइम पे जाने के बाद दो था, लेडीज और जेंट दो था। एक बार एक भालू और इनके साथ 2 बच्चे था उसे। एक बार मेरे को काटने के लिए आया, मैं पेड़ के ऊपर गया मैं।
तो भालू पेड़ चढ़ सकता है ना?
वो बड़ा रहे तो चढ़ते हैं, इतना बड़ा पकड़ने के लिए ऐसे, छोटा रहे तो
अच्छा
चढ़ने को होता नहीं।
दमाम तो आपका वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट है जो आप केन्या से लेके आए थे?
हाँ
करेक्ट?
हाँ
करेक्ट।
पहले लोग ऐसा ही बोलता है,
ऐसे बोलते हैं। तो आपके जगह का नाम है दमामी? उसका मतलब क्या हो गया?
दमामी हमारा बहुत, तो हम दमामी को हम लोग बहुत रेस्पेक्ट देते हैं, तो हमारा भगवान तरफ दमाम बोले तो इसको बहुत रेस्पेक्ट, क्योंकि वो एक हमारा भगवान तरफ वो एक स्पेशल इंस्ट्रूमेंट है, वो याद आता नहीं। पातर गीती गे पातर गीती कुप्प्यार बसल्ली पातर गीती लाईनार बसल्ली पातर गीती गे पातर गीती गरावई नाही मान गेले बगले की काय गे दिसले की काय गे गरावई नाही मान गेले बगले की काय गे दिसले की काय गे दिसलार सांगा गे गरावई नाही मान गेले बगले की काय गे।